Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda, and please welcome to our Operation Freedom platform, WeThePeopleProcessing.com. You know, are you tired of being threatened to be canceled just because you have a company focused on liberty and freedom? Well, worry no more, folks. WeThePeopleProcessing.com is your go-to merchant services, freedom-based company to provide business service payment solutions. We the People Processing provides their clients a cancel culture-free platform which is domestically based. They provide competitive rates, no contracts with next-day funding, a fully vetted and like-minded financial infrastructure, and full support for integrations, implementation, and e-commerce efforts. Bottom line, WeThePeopleProcessing.com focuses on defending your company's free market growth, values, and future. Check them out at www.WeThePeopleProcessing.com. Once you're on the site, enter in password Operation Freedom or call 855-499-2024. That's WeThePeopleProcessing.com. Then, when on the website, enter Operation Freedom as your password or call 855-499-2024.
Mr. President-elect,
go ahead.
Can you state
She's
categorically?
asking a question.
Mr. President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be
You are
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude. No, I'm not going to give you a
question.
question. I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to Dave Vs.The MSM. I'd like to thank you for joining me today, and I'd like to thank you for networking this information to all those you know. You see that? That's what the globalist cult wants to block at all costs. People actually being cognizant of the truth, the data, the facts. Hey, they spend billions of dollars every year to make sure that you're uninformed, misinformed, and disinformed. Yeah. I mean, look at how much money they spent on their tentacle, bought off lamestream fake media. Nothing but a propaganda arm. Look at how much money they spend on those that want to suppress this information. Just look at this platform, right? Look at the view counts. Now, those numbers I don't believe are accurate based on what we see in feedback coming to our website at davejana.com. But they do a pretty good job suppressing me and this message. Why? Because this message is deleterious to the globalist cult's vice grip on truth. I want to touch on a couple topics that will obviously even suppress this video even more. I want to focus on what I call the United States of Banana Republics. Look at what we just went through the beginning of November, right? The so-called midterms. You know, even in Banana Republic, third world countries, they count their votes within 24, 48 hours. United States, it's still going on in some respects. That's a condemnation. Anyone that supports this system as being legitimate based on that alone, forget it. Anyone who supports that and doesn't tell you that they're problems, they're part of the problem. They're not part of the answer. And we're at a point now. We have a lot to be thankful for, right? We just had the Thanksgiving holidays. We have a lot to be thankful for. But not as much as we did maybe a decade ago. And surely not decades ago. Because the cult, the globalist cult, has upped their game in their freedom stripping agenda. And they're counting on you being silent about it. The way democracy dies is by people being quiet, folks. Yeah. And they're counting on that. Which is why they run these psychological operations to keep you in fear. Why they run these psychological operations to keep you depressed. To always make you feel like you're losing. Because then you're more apt to just sit on the couch and curl up in a little ball. Now more than ever, every person must no longer remain silent about what is happening with the globalist cult and their attack on our constitutional republic. We should not be silent about outing their freedom-stripping agenda, about the truth about their financial takedown of the system. If you think that this, Sam Bankman-Fried character, piece of trash, globalist trash, if you think that was just an accident about that guy essentially being a money launderer for second biggest donor to Biden, to the Dems, had actually pledged another $500 million in 2023 and another $500 million in 2024. Well, that sure fell apart. That this whole money laundering operation, you think that just kind of happened? It was allowed to happen. His main squeeze, his girlfriend or whatever that other piece of globalist trash is, her daddy was really tight with Gensler, the head of this SEC, and Gensler was having meetings, Zoom meetings with this Sam Bankman-Fried, who, frankly, if you ever watch the guy, are you kidding me? I wouldn't let him order a McDonald's Happy Meal for me, let alone running a company, giving him money. What? No, we should not be quiet about what they're doing to trash the financial system worldwide, about their endless wars they get us into. $90 billion of United States taxpayer money since February of 2022 has gone to that money laundering, human trafficking operation, weapons running, drug running operation in Ukraine with the World Economic Forum little sock puppet, Z-Man, who's trying to get us into a nuclear war. And the globalists would love. Who do you think's pushing the sock puppet to do this? Right? A missile sent by Ukraine that landed in Poland, that he's saying, hey, we got to escalate this. This should be a war. This should. Yet, El Demente, Biden is, we got to send more money over there. More. What? We don't have enough money for internal border security here, or at the southern border, or for baby formula, or for our supply chains, or for our refining capacity. Just to name a few. But we got enough money for that little piece of globalist trash over there. You can't be silent about this faux issue about man-made global warming. Listen to the interviews we've done with Joe Bastardi. Joe blew open the fact that there's all this data out there that shows that the reason why the oceans are warming is because of the volcanic activity underneath the ocean surface. Not people driving around in their cars. You shouldn't be quiet about how they're trying to strip your freedom of speech 24/7. Or them trying to block energy production. Or them pushing a border sieve on the South and illegal immigration. Or them, if you will, manipulating a system where there is no integrity when it comes to elections. General Douglas MacArthur. A true leader has the confidence to stand alone, the courage to make tough decisions, and the compassion to listen to the needs of others. He or she does not set out to be a leader, but becomes one by the equality of his or her actions and the integrity of his or her intent. That's where you come in. Don't wait for these clowns in Washington. One political party, Republicans, owned and operated by a criminal syndicate. Oh, who's the minority leader of the Senate now? Mitch McConnell. What is the Speaker of the House? Kevin McCarthy. Globalist. And they're still pushing Romney McDaniel for chairperson of the Republican. Really? After she blew 2018, 2020, and 2022? Come on. Meet your new boss. It's the same as your old boss. And they want you to be grateful that Nancy Pelosi, the demented old bat, isn't there anymore. Okay. They think that that'll be enough to get you to just shh and not say anything and do anything. Better not be. Better not be. But at the heart of the legitimacy of a country is dependent on a number of factors that center on accountability and transparency. And one of the most important factors is a legitimate voting process that generates legitimate election results. And without election legitimacy, the country and its leadership becomes illegitimate. Right now, we have been dealing with a multi-level, multifaceted, comprehensive voter fraud operation. I kept saying, and it's not conspiracy theory, if you just look at what happened in 2020, how much changed between 2020 and 2022? And people were expecting a red wave and then are shocked that we got a red spit. Look, I took a lot of heat when I was saying, listen, if you're not going to learn from your mistakes, if you're going to keep the same infrastructure in place, how in the world do you anticipate different results? Oh, Dave, you're just so negative. No. It wasn't being negative, it was being honest. Because what occurred in 2020, and actually 2018 and before, but in particular, remember how all of those races ended up in California and the West Coast going days longer in 2018, and that's what gave the House to the syndicate? Remember that? That was their warm-up. Because then they implemented on a bigger scale in 2020. And they used that pathogen to not subvert election laws, just to go around them. They didn't change anything. They just found a way to go around it. And by going around it, going around standing election laws, which they either ignored or they worked around, they used mail-in voting that lacked verification. The drop boxes, the ballot harvesting, the machine irregularities, the stopping account, counting then for days, weeks, months. None of that changed. for the most part. Except, remember when DeSantis became governor? Barely won, remember? One of the first things he did is he assembled a team and said, okay, we're going to focus on integrity, transparency, accountability, mail-in voting, drop boxes, gone. Ballot harvesting, gone. We're going to make it so that if you're caught in voter fraud, you're going to go to jail. Because that's what they really fear. Because nobody can do their time for them. And look what happened. Red tsunami in Florida. To the point where Miami-Dade went that way. While the rest of the country experienced a red spit. Because others did not step forward. And they had their big funders, right? In 2020, the Zuckerberg piece of garbage. And it's $450 million. Let me tell you. The fact that that guy was not brought on criminal charges of election interference just goes along with when it comes to the globalist cult, there is no rule of law. But this time, in 2022, they had their new sugar daddy, Sam Bankman-Fried, who was laundering, $50 million to the D's and the second biggest donor behind Soros to Biden and the rest of them, at least that we're aware of. And then that whole operation with FTX and taxpayer dollars going to Ukraine and then them putting it on the FTX platform and then somehow it coming back. So they had their sugar daddy there. And they thought they had their sugar daddy lined up for 2024 because Bankman-Fried had committed to $500 million in 2023 and $500 million in 2024. Just like a good old banana republic. And then you had Biden saying, quote, it's about who gets to count the vote and whether your vote counts at all. Remember that golden oldie? This is from December 2021, a year ago. It's from Gabriel Keenan, the National File. Joe Biden stated, quote, it's about who gets to count the vote and whether your vote counts at all, end quote. He said this during a speech attacking election integrity laws. Of course he's going to attack it. How else can you win an election when you hide in your basement? And you can't even read a teleprompter. And you just mumble gibberish all day. It comes down to what we've discussed before. That I've been saying for years. A vote is not the same as a ballot. And the cult harvests ballots and they don't give a doggone about votes. Because votes mean they're legitimate. They're documented. That's why they don't debate. That's why they don't come out of their basement. That's why they can put up people like Fetterman, a Neanderthal, who was a Neanderthal before he even had a stroke. Really? Check his background. Piece of trash. That's how a guy like him wins. And it's not just the people of Pennsylvania that pay that price. It's every American when you have a guy like him holding office. And the rest of them. It's easier to see with him as opposed to many of these other cultists. Oh, we're a banana republic. Biden administration, this is from another golden oldie, February 2022. Biden administration urges court not to allow release of secret report on machines. From March of 2022. America's corrupt election system revealed in secret Georgia report. A federal judge is hiding a report that shows the machines can't be trusted. And then we had this one. Remember this one? They didn't want you to hear about this. Remember the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, who said that the 2020 election was the most secure election in American history? Well, at night, June 3rd, 2022. Vulnerabilities affecting voting machines. This is from CISA now, the same organization that said that everything was fine with the machines. This advisory identifies 9 vulnerabilities affecting versions of voting machines, which is an in-person voting system used to allow voters to mark their ballot. The machine can be configured to allow a voter to produce a paper record or to record votes electronically. These vulnerabilities present risks that should be mitigated as soon as possible. As soon as possible. Right. No, folks. The United States has become a banana republic. Now, that being said, what do? Okay. We saw the lead in Florida. Okay. One of the keys is to get our election system accountable and transparent. What happened in Florida shows that if you put the time and the effort into creating a system that gets deep sixes, mail-in voting, ballot harvesting, drop boxes, voter ID in place. By doing that, you might not have 100% free and fair an election, but it'll be a heck of a lot closer than we have right now. And that gets us back on the road, to legitimacy. Now, some people say, that we just need to fight fire with fire, and we need to develop ballot harvesting operations. Okay. So what you're saying is that rather than making a system more accountable, more transparent, more honest, you just want to get in the gutter with the criminals. My philosophy is if you get in the gutter with the criminals, you take them down. You expose them. You truly expose them. You see, they're cockroaches. They don't want to be identified. And if you are identifying these criminals of what they're doing and how they're doing it, we might not have a justice system. Our justice system is broken. However, if you're exposing these people, it becomes awfully difficult for them to walk down the street. Got it? Without people pointing their finger at them and yelling at them. Saying, what are you doing? Why are you a criminal and doing this to our system? If the authorities are not going to take these people to court, then you have to expose them so people know who the criminals are and so people can avoid them. And can look at them a little bit cross-eyed to let them know that we know who they are. We do this peacefully, but we do it. See, folks, we need to get our country back. We need to make our country that what did Ronald Reagan describe it? That shining city on a hill. As opposed to the laughingstock banana republic in the gutter that the globalist cult is trying to transform us into. And nobody's going to come and save us. It's up to each and every one of us to network to our friends and families exactly what's going on. To make a stand. No more mail-in voting. That doesn't mean absentee voting. Absentee voting can occur, limited and for justifiable reasons. Sick, out of town. That's it. No more mail-in voting. No more ballot drop boxes. No more ballot harvesting. Voter ID. Prosecution if you're caught scamming the system. We do that, and we push that agenda on everyone we know for them to also push to everyone they know, contacting our elected representatives, state, local, national. What are you doing about it? Look, there's something I don't want you to know about that happened in Wisconsin. That there was a small group of people who utilized computer programming models and identified people who addresses that ballots were being sent to, that nobody lived there and that these people didn't exist. And then they went to their registrars and they had tens of thousands of fraudulent ballots thrown out because nobody lived at those addresses and the people that they said were there were not there. I believe the reason why Ron Johnson won the Senate was because of that group of patriots that did that. And if they can do that in Wisconsin, and you look at what happened in Florida, you know what? No, this is doable. But meanwhile, hey, in 2020, the Republican Party raised $300 million for election integrity. How much of that did they spend? Right. They're not looking for election integrity because they're part of the problem. And the sooner people like Ronna Romney, McDaniel get thrown out and replaced by people who care, like people like Lee Zeldin, yeah, we're on the road out of the gutter, the Banana Republic gutter. But if we're going to rely on Mitch McConnell or Kevin McCarthy sorry. We can do this. And we will do this. Because if we don't do this, there's nothing left of our republic. Fact. I thank you for your time today. We are available 24/7 at davejanda.com. We hope you become part of our freedom family. Support our platform. It's 30 cents a day, $9 a month, and you get tremendous priceless information on a daily basis that puts you months, if not years, ahead of the curve. Thank you for your time today. Until next time, Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail.